Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk podcast coming at you with this week's live stream episode. Joined by me today, my guy, Cricket. What's up, Cricket?
What's going on, brother? How you doing? I appreciate you having me in here, man. Ready to talk some football.
Oh, yeah, baby. We got to definitely, let's give them our takes today, man. NFL week 1 is done, all right? We're going to try to hit the top storylines, and we have a lot of storylines, man, that definitely popped up throughout Sunday and
Absolutely,
yesterday.
bro. It crazy, man. Crazy week 1. You know, we always have our overreactions from week 1 and things like that, but there's a lot of things that have really played a big part in how this season is going to play out. A lot different than we thought it was going to be just a week ago.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And first and foremost, man, how'd you do with your bets this weekend?
I did
In
all right,
regards to
man.
that.
I did all right. I actually went 10-6 in the NFL, so it was all right. My college football picks, I was 7-1, so basically breaking even right there. But we've got off to a pretty good start in this thing, up about 15 units in the first 2 weeks between NFL and college. So we're just marching in the right direction, man. Building that account.
Hey, every time you're up, man, 15 units, that's not to smile. That's like,
Hey,
sneeze about, baby. That's positive numbers, brother. First
and I
week.
ain't, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of my futures bets are looking pretty nice after weeks 1 and 2 here. I'm just saying, I know there's a lot of football left, but I'm feeling a lot better about some of these, man.
Man, I wish it would have taken the 8 for the 9 or 10 under for the Jets or something like that now, right after last
Oh
night.
man, that would have been clutch.
Well, anyway, but man, without further ado, why don't we start hitting some of these games? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we got to start, man, with what was a juggernaut. It was a complete buzzsaw, man, of a game here with Miami and the Chargers, brother. I mean, Tua just went off my guy. 466 passing yards, fourth passing yards in a season opener in NFL history. I mean, the guy had five. I mean, it was insane. He's right behind Dan Marino with 473, 554. He threw for like 4 touchdowns. And it was just not with Tua record-breaking that day, but Tyreek Hill went off. 215 yards receiving, third most yards receiving in any season NFL opening game. Insane. He did say he wants to go for 2,000 yards, man.
He did.
We spoke about it on Wake. What was it? Wake and Rake, right?
Yeah.
And we said that's the only game we are going to go over. And guess what? We did, and it did
Oh.
not disappoint.
No, it did not. Pie went over easy, man. Back and forth the whole game. It's a lot of fun to watch this game. There's two teams battling, a lot of offense, man. No, not a whole lot of defense. But Tyreek, like you talked about, that dude, man. I don't think I could catch him in my car, bro.
No, I don't think so, man.
It's unreal, man. It's just I like seeing what Tua did, being able to bounce back. We had a lot of question marks with that guy. How is he going to respond? Is he going to be able to keep his head in the game? I mean, he looked like the old Tua, bro, coming out just dealing that thing all over the field. This Miami team looked pretty good. That's a big time win to go on the road, West Coast game, right off the rip to a team that a lot of people were expecting to have a big time year. That's a big time win for the Dolphins.
Absolutely. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The offensive line looked good, which I don't think the Chargers is a legitimate test, but come on, man. To put up 36 points and 466 passing yard, it was insane. They had Tyreek Hill was all in, but they had some good supporting help. Waddle didn't have a great game, only had 5 targets. I mean, Tyreek had 15 freaking targets, man.
Yeah,
this guy
exactly, man. I'm like, how do you let that guy get how do you even let him get 15 targets? I mean, I guess that's just Tyreek being Tyreek, man, getting open in space and doing things. That dude's unreal, man.
Unreal. I mean, and look, Herbert, again, people are going to start this conversation early on. It's not like he played bad. 23 for 33, 228, 1 touchdown. I mean, he has a lot of weapons. He rushed for a touchdown. Eckler had himself 117 yards on the ground. Look, they rushed the ball extremely well. That's why it's a well-balanced attack, man. But again, couldn't get it done in the clutch. And that has been the knock, especially, man, after he signed for the big money.
Well, I told you guys the other day on Wake and Rake, man, I thought the first head coach fired in the NFL this year would be Brandon Staley out there in LA. I still think that, man. This is a guy that's supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach. We talked about Kellen Moore coming in now. The offense did their job the other day. You score 34 points in an NFL football game, you're supposed to win the game. So now I've got a defensive-minded head coach that's still showing me he can't get done in the clutch. Blew that big lead in Jacksonville in the playoffs last year. I don't have a lot of faith in Brandon Staley. They got a lot of weapons. They got a roster out there with the Chargers, man. There's no reason that you should be losing games like this, especially in your home stadium, man. I mean, it's just I think Brandon Staley, I think he's a great coordinator, but I don't think he's ever going to be a good head coach in this league.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, they had a great balanced attack between the pass and the run. So usually those numbers win 9 out of 10 times. But couldn't hold it together, man. I think that defense can't even hold water in a glass, bro. I don't know.
Well,
I
we
don't.
also said maybe Kellen Moore's hanging out there as that coach in waiting, man. Everybody's been wondering when he's going to get his shot. That might be a pretty good spot for him to land, man.
Maybe that's the reason why he ended up leaving Dallas because he knew that Dan Quinn's going to be the next head
That's what he
coach there.
said. He's
So
like,
yeah.
somebody told him Brandon Staley's getting fired too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. That's right. Oh man, let's move on to the next game, man. Look, staying in the AFC tilt here, man. The Phillies faced the Patriots, and at the beginning when I saw this game, we spoke about it on detail in that morning as well, and none of us were very excited. We want to kind of stay away from that game, right? But
Yeah.
I gotta give you, dude, Philly looked a little shaky, and on the other hand, after a real shaky start for the Patriots, they showed me something. They show me something that they're not going to be an easy out in this AFC East, man. What do you think? I mean, look, Jalen had a very subpar game, 22 for 33, 170 in the air, threw for a touchdown, fumbled it once. They were shaky on the ground. It wasn't a great game. And unlike the Pats, bro, dude, all of a sudden they woke up in the second quarter and made this a game. And they had Philly like pissing in their pants in that fourth quarter towards the end of the game.
Man, I'm like you, bro. I was real. They wound up killing a 5-leg parlay for me. This Patriots was only lost for me. I drank the Kool-Aid. Will, my guy Game On, has been spitting that they're all for weeks now. He's been telling me they're not losing at home on Tom Brady Day, man. And I drank that Kool-Aid. They almost came back and won that thing, but at first, Mac Jones in there, the pick six wasn't his fault, man. That ball should have been caught.
Yeah,
bounced up. I mean, that's not his fault. And I'm like, I didn't even see the play. I'm already texting Will. I was like, Mac Jones is a bum. Oh, I had to come back and eat that crow later, man. I see it. He's got 313 yards.
Unreal.
I mean, right there trying to lead it. Mac Jones can play the game, man. He can play the game. He can be a game manager. He can throw the football. And that's a heartbreaking way to lose, though, man. I thought they had that fourth down conversion right there at the end.
That's true. I did not. If you tell me that Mac Jones was going to throw for 316 yards for his first game against Philly of the season with this lineup, Kendrick Bourne being your best wide receiver, your running back has the second most, well, the tied for the most passing yards, which we knew that was going to happen. That's what Ramondre is. He could catch it, he could run it. Yeah, that's it, man. Hunter Henry had a huge game. I mean, he had some grabs, 6 targets, grabs.
That one he made on that 4th down and 8 or whatever, that one-handed, that was nasty, bro. But yeah, and you tell me all those things, and you tell me you're going to lose the turnover battle, and you tell me New England's going to be winning a touchdown, I'd have never bought it, man. I just thought they got blown out by 4 touchdowns. And so, yeah, I think New England definitely showed me some stuff here. Philly, a lot of people are going to be down on Philly and Jalen Hurts and all that. I think it's a good transition. I'm glad you went to this game after Miami because we're going to find out how good that offensive line is in Miami next week when they go up to Foxborough and play the Patriots because that defensive line ain't no slouch, man.
Listen, they showed it. I mean, they banged up a good offensive line of Philadelphia, all right, because they were able to force turnovers, like you said. So this is when everybody right now, it's really up on Tua. Hey, I'm happy for Tua, dude. But the Chargers defensive line, it's not New England. That AFC, bro, based on the games that we saw, right, this weekend, yeah, you know what? Out of the first game, the most exciting team definitely is Miami, the offense and everything else. So, yeah, I'm going to put them as their division to lose now after what happened last night, and we're going to dive into that a little later on. But New England's not going to be an easy out week after week for that division, my man. You know what I'm saying? Jets, tough defense. I mean, that's where I'm going to see the big test. And you're right. Next weekend, that line is going to be tested, and so is Tua. Let's see his Tua Kwando is going to pay out when he gets knocked on the ground.
And after watching this week's game, everybody wants to kind of go ahead and give Miami that division. This is the overreactions for week 1 and stuff. Miami ain't faced no defenses like they're going to face in division. Between the Jets, the Patriots, and even the Bills showed me some things last night defensively. I know Aaron Rodgers out and all that. We'll get to that later. But these defenses in the AFC East are stout.
They are dogs, man. And listen, brother, let's move on to the next one. How the hell, man? This guy all he does is win. May not be pretty, man, but Jimmy G just won another opener for another team. I mean, I didn't pull up the numbers, but I don't know what I mean, his regular season freaking numbers have to be insane. What, over 40 wins and like 15 losses or something like that?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the dude just shows up to Vegas and just, didn't play a single preseason, was hurt a bunch of games last year. It wasn't pretty. 17-6.
It never is, man, but you're right. Jimmy G gets it done. The Raiders are still undefeated against the Broncos since moving to Las Vegas. They are 7-0 since they moved to Las Vegas. And I'm more about this, bro. The Broncos still suck. I don't know if anybody knows it, but they still suck. And everybody's thought they've been hyped all year long, too. It's funny. That Jets Broncos showdown where everybody was talking shit back in the offseason. Everybody was looking forward to week 5. That shit don't matter no more at all. Nobody's even going to remember that. But yeah, the Broncos, you were the worst, one of the worst offenses, bottom 3 offenses in the league last year. You bring the great Sean Payton. And I know Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame
Mhm.
coach and all that stuff, but I really, really wasn't shown anything from him or Russell Wilson. And I'm not sure that Russell Wilson was ever a good quarterback in the NFL.
Wow.
I,
I mean,
I,
I used to like Russell with
I
Seattle,
think,
the early days, you know?
but that's what I'm saying. I think he was a product
Mhm.
of the system. I mean,
Yep.
hell, Pete Carroll got
Mhm.
Geno paid.
Yep.
And
That's
Geno
true.
ain't been successful anywhere. It may be a system thing. And I'm just saying, I haven't seen anything from Russell Wilson to tell me that he has any interest in playing football or playing winning football in the last 2 years.
I mean, look, efficiently, he had a better opener than last year. Did not turn the ball over, 2 touchdowns, 177 passing yards, but you know that we're not taking any risk whatsoever. That was what Sean Payton told them. Guys, you're not taking any risk. On the positive end for the Broncos, it was nice to see Javonte Williams
Yeah.
actually have a nice game. You know,
Yeah.
he rushed it, he carried it 13 times. He was out there for the most of the snaps.
Yeah. Happy with
52
that guy.
yards. That was kind of nice. You know what I mean, man? It
Yeah.
was seeing him out there. And he even had himself a couple of receptions. He had 4 receptions only for like 5 yards. That's
Yeah.
how bad
Yeah.
that offensive was. But
Right.
you know,
But
a
yeah,
nice
I love
highlight. So go ahead.
I love that, man. I love seeing these guys come back from these big time injuries. So it's so brutal. Man, it makes me sick to my stomach anytime I see one, like the Aaron Rodgers thing last night and all that. But I
Yeah.
love seeing these guys back, especially these young guys that haven't really got a shot. The guy that my heart broke for, we'll probably get to, is J.K. Dobbins, a guy that
Yeah,
just can't
man.
catch a break, man. So I love seeing these guys be able to bounce back and come back and still play and be productive and stuff, because that's big time for them, man. Big time. So
Yep.
I was
And let me
happy
tell you
for him
something.
too, bro.
What I like about, I guess, Jimmy G until he gets hurt, of course, because it always happens. 7 games, 8 games in.
It
Uh,
does.
his marching orders were you feed your 2 best wide receivers, which is Jacoby Myers, who had a monster game,
Yeah.
and Devontae Williams. I know Jacoby got banged up, but 10 targets for Jacoby, 2 touchdowns, and then Devontae was getting beat up all night long by Sertan, and he still was able to pull 6 out of his 9 targets. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of this again. Fantasy, bro. Everybody was staying away from Devontae Adams, but listen, he did this against one of the best corners in the league, and he's not going to face Pat Surtain every single weekend. You know what I'm saying, dude? So there'll be a touchdown in these 9 targets and a couple of 100-yard games in between. So yeah, pretty much where we're at. What do you definitely think? Let's see here.
There we
Go ahead,
go.
brother. I'm sorry. It looked
My
like
bad.
you.
I didn't know what happened. I was like, what's going
Sorry,
on?
I'm looking at the tab and then I saw. Okay, yeah, it's all right, man. Hey, listen, man. It's the Wi-Fi sometimes goes away. You know what
I
I mean? So,
understand. That's what's happening. I was like, what am I supposed to do, man? Am I supposed to rejoin? What's happening?
so great. Yeah, do that every time this happens. Go ahead and rejoin because I hear you right away on the headphones. I was like, what happened? I'm talking to myself because as I'm talking to this, I'm looking at the screen, right?
Right.
So if I don't hear you, I'm like, shit. I think it's my turn. But
Yeah.
no, what I was saying, I think Jimmy G got the marching orders right. Feed the monster, which is Devontae Adams, and then Jacoby Myers, and of course Jacobs to boot with it. So let me see here. What do we got next? Hey, what about Jordan Love, man? Going from
Bro.
the outhouse baby to the penthouse, man.
Man.
Passing for 3 touchdowns, brother. Destroying these so-called favorites of the Bears, man. All right, and making Justin Fields, which everybody kind of called it on Wake and Rake that Monday, yesterday. On Sunday morning, that nobody's afraid of the Bears. They're just making the hype because Justin is a nice shiny new toy that can run
Yeah.
really fast, right? So
Yeah. Man, Jordan Love. I think these Packers about to figure out how to print Hall of Fame quarterbacks, man. Just draft them in the first round, sit them on the bench for 3 years behind one of the best ever, and just let them learn the game. And then when they're ready to go, they don't get banged up in those first 3 years. They don't get any reason to be like lose their confidence and all
mhm,
that. Because it seems like Aaron Rodgers is really like pulling for Jordan Love. It's not like he wanted to see Jordan Love
mhm.
fail. Jordan Love said the night before camp, he texted him,
Yeah,
was like, hey, man, it's your
yep,
team. It's your time. Go do it. I think Jordan Love is going to have a big time year, man. I'm trying to snag him up in every league that he's available. I've got him in a couple already, but I
yeah.
wanted to see how it was going to work. I didn't want to like put too many eggs in that basket. But I think this guy's going to have a big time season, especially when he gets Christian Watson back.
Mhm.
This is a good football team, man. I know the Detroit Lions are good, man, but I like the Packers in this NFC North.
And Aaron Jones did have a great game. I mean, he had a
Yeah.
he had a long reception for a touchdown of 40 something yards. He had that was a kind of broke the game wide open, right? But they balanced it out. You know what I mean? They didn't, they spread the ball around with AJ Dillon and Patrick Taylor and Aaron Jones running it. And overall, I mean, because they were hurt, that's the reason why they needed to play. That's what Aaron Jones does. Aaron Jones is one of those backs that can catch it and go away for 50 and score a touchdown at any given Sunday, any given time. So
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs, 2 touchdowns. He came huge for that. So they good game plan against a team that's way overhyped in my book with the Bears. You know what I mean?
Right. I was glad to see Romeo Dobbs have a big game, man. Been pulling for that guy. He's had some injury bugs and stuff last year, but yeah, he had a big game, and this team, Aaron Jones, going to be banged up, hammy, probably.
Yeah.
You know how those hammies are, but if AJ Dillon's, he shouldn't be available in any leagues, but if he is,
Mhm.
you better go snag that dude up because he instantly becomes one of those guys that can be a top 10 type running back when he gets all the carries. And I like the Packers. I like what they're doing up there. I just do. I love Aaron Jones, and I hope he gets back pretty quick, but they're headed in the right direction.
I have a lot of stock of Aaron Jones, man, and I could not. I think only one league I was able to pick up AJ Dillon because everybody, once you see somebody drafting AJ Jones, they just go ham on trying to get their handcuffs. So like that, you have some
Yeah.
trade bait during the season, and I fell for that. Everybody in my league was like the ones that know me were like, yeah, dude, we're
We
picking
ain't
up AJ
playing that
Dillon.
game.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. So right now I'm like putting feelers out there, and they want me to give him my firstborn or something for AJ Dillon. So
It's like, nah, yeah, my guy didn't tear his ACL, man. He gonna be back in a month. I just I need to plug and play for a little bit.
yeah, exactly. I got some backup, man.
Yeah.
Talking about backups, bro. Next game, the Rams. What the hell, man? Cooper Kupp goes out. He's probably gone for like 4 months. I mean, talking backup stepped up in this game, bro. And I'm gonna butcher this guy's name because I'm famous at butchering his name. But that guy, what is his name? Puka and Nakua and freaking
Puka
Karen Williams.
Nacua.
Those guys were,
Yeah.
they were huge, huge.
Huge. Puka Nacua, man. I've been watching
Yeah.
that guy for the last couple of years. I'm a big college football fan, man.
Okay.
He's been playing at BYU last couple of years, been their top receiver out there. Had a little bit of injury bugs last year, kind of hammy stuff and things like that. But I said when they drafted him, I thought he would be pretty good with Matthew Stafford. You got Tutu Atwell. They both had 119 yards receiving this weekend. Tyler Higbee had a solid game. Didn't play quite as well as we thought he would, or just didn't have the numbers we thought he would. But that's a solid offense. You get Cooper Kupp back in this thing, Matthew Stafford can still play the game. It's not like he's just falling off. He can still throw the football if he can stay healthy out there. You got Aaron Donald on defense. I like this Rams team, man. I put a little flyer on them before the season to win that division at 10-1.
I mean, he did. He looked great slinging that football.
He does.
He made some throws, man, that I was like, wow, man. He put it in. Listen, he gave every single receiver in that team an opportunity to make a play. You know what I mean? Put it in his spots where he wasn't going to turn it. That's what Stafford did that year. He's been doing that all his career. He just was with Detroit when Detroit was bad, right? And then he finally gets the opportunity with a stack team, and they win the Super Bowl. But that's what he was doing stuff, man. That's what Matthew Stafford does, and it was nice to see, man. A lot of it was said that they thought he was going to be, this is going to be Matthew Stafford last hurrah, the injuries, everything else, blah 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 blah. That's it. They're done. He's probably going to play half a season because he's going to get hurt and he's not going to want to come back. But that was not the case from what I saw out of Matthew Stafford. He was locked in, brother. He was locked in.
I've been kind of high on this Rams. I think a lot of people forget that they just won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The reason they were so bad last year is because all of their big time players were hurt, man. They were playing with backups. They had to scramble to get Baker Mayfield and all that stuff. You didn't have your top receiver, the top receiver in the league coming back from the season before. I mean, you lose those key pieces. It's hard for anybody to recover from that. And so many people had that in their mind how bad the season was last year. And I've said all along, I mean, their win total was only sitting at 6.5. I piled on that thing on the over because I don't see how this team is that bad. There's still got a lot of those key pieces there. I like Sean McVay. I think the Rams are going to make some noise this year, and that's not a team you're going to want to play facing elimination.
And remember, their defense, which was their bread and butter the past couple of years, was hurt last year too. Everybody's back being healthy. I mean,
maybe a little inspired now too.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Geno Smith took a major dump in his, after getting paid. You know what I mean? I mean, he wasn't as bad as Daniel Jones here, but shoot, man. I mean, 60 for 26, 112. I mean, dude, with that stacked team that they have with Metcalf, of course, a TD, I mean, he couldn't get the ball to anybody. That's how good that defense was playing them. And they were that front again, man, with, Aaron Donald. They were back. They looked good at least for one game. They were just running havoc.
Absolutely, man. I'm like, damn, Geno. I'm pulling for Geno, man. I want to see a little bit more out of Geno. He got, like you said, he got the weapons out there. I was really surprised by this game. I took the Rams in the 4, but I thought that Seattle would win this game. I thought it'd be a field goal game. This division always seems to play close, and I thought that it would be a close game, but I thought there's no way Seattle loses this game. I damn sure didn't see him getting just smacked in the mouth.
Me too. I mean, you're right. I didn't think they were going to lose, and first of all, losing this bad, another one that would have shocked me. That definitely shocked me. I mean, talking about losing though, man. Moving on to J.K. Dobbins, like you were mentioning earlier, man. Feel bad for this kid, man. 4th year, we may not see J.K. Dobbins in an NFL uniform again.
I agree, man. I agree with you, man. I do. I hope not. I hope we're both wrong.
Yep.
I hope he comes back better than ever. It's going to be hard to do. This guy just had so much tough luck since coming into the league out of Ohio State. Was a big time, a lot of talk, a lot of hype for this guy
Mhm.
coming in out of Ohio State, and I really thought he was going to be a good player. I really did. And it's not that he's not a good player.
No.
It has nothing to do with that. He's just had terrible luck, and it's always not like hammies and high ankle sprains and things. It's catastrophic season-ending injuries. Like last year, ACL. This year,
Mhm.
torn Achilles. I mean, things that you can't do you have to rehab a year for before you can even go back to getting back to sport again.
I
And
mean, he
so,
scored a touchdown.
yeah,
He
and the
was
first
he
that's
was
what I
he
was
was
so
the
happy
man
for.
getting, yeah, it was
I
early on.
I seen him punch it in right off the bat, score the first touchdown of the season. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is gonna be
Yeah.
the J.K. Dobbins coming out party, man. And the next thing I know, I get an update on my phone. He's
Yeah.
left the game and it doesn't look good. And I'm like, damn, I feel for this guy, man. So prayers his way and all that stuff. I hope the speedy recovery. I hope we haven't seen the last of him, but I'm kind of with you, man. I think we might have.
No, definitely echoing your same sentiments, man. And shout out to his family. Prayers to him and his family. Just at the end of the day, man, it's a game, but livelihood is livelihood, right? And
Yeah.
nobody deserves to get that taken away from them, especially that's the way he earns his money. So, and
Yeah.
talking about breakout, Zay Flowers, man, did not disappoint.
Man, he did
That boy
not.
did not disappoint, man. All right, he was making some plays, brother. I mean, 9 receptions, most targeted. Remember, we said it in Wake and Rake as well that this kid's going to be. I mean, I thought he was going to take a couple of games, but he's going to be the number one receiver for Lamar, and it only took one game to
I
show.
mean, they've been trying to find the
Mhm.
guy in Baltimore for a couple
Playmaker.
years now, and when the guy is your tight end, like kind of like it is in Kansas City,
Mhm.
we saw that when your guy is the tight end, your offense is probably not very good because
Yep.
you don't have a lot of weapons on the outside. And it's great to have one of those big time tight ends like Mark Andrews, but I think Zay Flowers is going to add a different element to this offense. They haven't had in a few years now. Lamar's got to play better. He didn't make any
Absolutely.
bad decisions, and he
Mhm.
didn't have to play great. I mean, this was a
Mhm.
team they were clearly just better than. They kind of methodically just worked their way through it and got the
Mhm.
job done. So he didn't have to have a big game. But when he comes time to step up, he just got all that money, man. He's got to play this year. He's got to make it happen.
And put it this way, right? It was an ugly game for Lamar, ugly game offensively, pretty much for the Ravens, right? But if you take the plays that Zay Flowers did, because he made some freaking catches and
Yeah.
plays after the catch, man, generated that. It was like it left you like with your mouth open. You take this kid out of the way. Let's say this is the opening from last year. They would have won this game, or it would have been a lot closer. It would have been like a 17 to like 9, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean,
They'd have
or
covered.
less.
Yeah, they'd have covered that thing, man. It
Mhm.
just that defense is solid too. I mean, there's a whole lot of problems in Houston
Yeah,
offensively and stuff,
yeah,
but
man.
they're doing it the right way. I mean, I think they got the right guy, head coach, and D'Amico Ryans.
Mhm.
I think they were very smart in the draft this year. I know they had to give some stuff away, but they got their guy on offense and they got their guy
Yep.
on defense and Will Anderson. I really like the way the Texans direction they're headed. Somebody to keep an eye out for in fantasy. Nico Collins. I think he
Absolutely.
is going to wind up being the top receiver in Houston. He's available in a lot of leagues right now.
Mhm.
So if Nico Collins is out there, you might want to grab and stash for a little bit. I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock just yet, but I think Nico Collins is going to wind up being the number one receiver in Houston. And I think CJ Stroud is going to get a lot better. And I think he's going to be a sneaky play the rest of the year.
He had 11 targets last game, 80
Yeah.
yards,
Yep.
11 targets. I mean, remember, dude, fantasy football is about targets, my friend.
That's right.
Every time, your
Volume.
guy's getting targeted, he's gonna get points. All right, it's
Yep.
it's just a matter of time. And CJ, again, things move a lot faster in the pro game, all right, than it is in college. So welcome to the NFL, my friend.
And let's be real. On
Yeah,
the road at Baltimore for your first start, that's a tough spot to
that's
go
that's
into and
tough. Yeah,
expect much out of.
playing against a former MVP. I mean, a defense that is back and better than they were last year.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. So yeah, things are definitely going to move a lot faster, and especially
Yeah.
against a good team. You
Yeah.
know,
Roquan Smith chasing you around all afternoon.
that's
Shoo-wee.
tough, man. That's
Yeah.
tough, brother. That is so tough, man. But shout out. I mean, first rookie that we touched today, and we're probably going to touch on the other ones. Touching on someone that's not a rookie, but complete shit the bed, bro. What happened to the Bengals, dude? And Joey Money, bro. Talk about getting paid and not delivering, man. I know he doesn't do well opening games because he bombed last year too. Not like this. This is like ridiculous, man. This guy to even break 100 passing yards.
Man, I was heavy on these Browns. I really was. It just felt
Me
after the
too.
calf injury in camp. So, like,
Mhm,
calf injuries are a weird thing, man. You can
mhm.
go and think you're feeling better. A couple weeks go by, you're feeling good, and you step one wrong way, you land awkwardly, and it's all back to right where you were. You're back to square one. And so I didn't know if Joey Buckets was going to be able to maintain it throughout this game. I
Mhm.
didn't know how high a level he would be playing at. Is he kind of favoring that thing? Is he trying to be careful with it? It was a nasty weather game. This
Mhm.
division's always pretty close. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised the Browns won. I was surprised the Bengals didn't score an offensive touchdown and that they
No,
beat them like they did. So I think the Bengals got more problems than people really want to talk about. But we said that last year too when they started out 0-2. So there's still a lot of football left, but I don't know, man. They got to figure something out in week 1. They have not looked good the last 2 years.
No, week 1 is you're right, because last year, even though they lost the game too, and he turned the ball over like twice. I remember he had a fumble and 2 picks. I mean, he was horrible.
They lost, I think Pittsburgh last second field goal, I believe is what it was.
That's
And
right.
They went down and lost to Dallas in week 2.
Yeah, they lost to Pittsburgh with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. That tells you everything.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that should be you. That makes me want to puke.
Yeah. So this is one of those overreactions that I am not going to put any stock until like week 5. You know what I'm saying? If they're really struggling.
I want to see how that calf does, man. I'm going to be keeping an eye on them for sure. Last year, I was kind of like early in the season, whatever. Appendectomy, you can get past that. A calf injury is different than appendectomy. Just period. The recovery time, all that. I got to keep an eye on these Bengals, but I'm not ready to jump off the ship just yet.
And with the Browns, impressive win. That defense was, Myles Garrett was all over Joe's ass. I mean, nothing different there. That's what Myles Garrett does. More of the same. Good old reliable Nick Chubb, 18 carries, pounding the ball inside, 106 yards. That's what he does, man. He mows over people. Look, Deshaun, my homie, happy ending Deshaun Watson over here, threw for a touchdown. Also had, he rushed for 45 yards and rushed for a touchdown. So he looked better than I think this is probably the best game he's played since he's been back from his suspension, which is, it's kind of nice to see for the Browns. I could care less about the Browns, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, they've been Browning all their life. So it's, they got a little bit of a spotlight beating a really good Bengals team.
I'm glad you touched on the Browns there, man. I think we were kind of doing the same thing everybody else is doing, talking about how bad the Bengals were. That's kind of our overreaction, how bad they are. We're not even talking about how good the Browns played, man. They look good out there. I mean, this could be a team that this division is going to be stout all year long. These are going to be hard-hitting football games. They always are. And it's going to be a close division throughout. Nobody's going to win this thing running away or nothing like that. And the Browns did look impressive. I think the more as weeks go by, Deshaun Watson will get more comfortable in this offense, build some more rapport with these receivers and stuff. And that defense, you're right, looked good out there, man. So you hold this offense right here. I know the weather was bad, but you hold this offense to without a touchdown, you did something.
They got Joe's number, man. Joe's 1-5 against the Browns, so everything went wrong for the Bengals, man. It's gonna probably keep going wrong every time they face them on opening day or whatever. But 1-5. It's crazy when I looked up that stat. I'm like, wow, man. I knew he struggles against them, but wow.
I just go ahead and plan on Joe Burrow playing 15 games a year than just sitting those 2 Browns games out.
Yeah, I would just put the backup in. You probably have a better chance, and then break the curse, bro.
That's right.
Hey, man, and talking about breaking the curse, my brother. Somebody came back to the NFL. All right, try to deliver a message this weekend as well, my friend. And that was one guy called Calvin Ridley.
My
man, Calvin, brother. I've always been a fan of him. And the fact that look, as gamblers, we talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I think the rule is so freaking stupid. For these NFL players. You have a huge sponsorship that the NFL I'm talking about with FanDuel and DraftKings for gambling and fantasy football. And you don't expect these freaking guys to place a bet on their mobile devices. It's not even that they're betting on themselves, prop betting, or they're betting on their team. Dude, they're betting on a different sport, or even if they're betting on a different game. So I think the rule has to be relooked at this because, dude, it's bullshit is what it is. I mean, I have to get that off my chest. I think it's ridiculous.
You're good. Preach to him, man. Preach to him. I think it's so fucking stupid. I do. It drives me nuts. Calvin Ridley was playing like $25, $35 parlays. He wasn't even playing at the time. Do you think Calvin Ridley gives a shit about a $25 or $35 parlay? Absolutely not. That man lost an entire year of his career. Calvin Ridley played at Alabama. I'm a big Tennessee fan. Obviously, I feel some type of way about Alabama, Georgia, all those guys. So if I like a guy from one of those schools, I'm a big fan, man. I think he's a player. And I thought Calvin Ridley was always going to be a player. And I've got several tickets on him winning comeback player of the year this year, as long as they don't just give it to DeMar Hamlin. I know all that stuff. I support it. But I still think the guy's got to have a good year. Calvin Ridley started off with a bang, man. And I hope he has 2,000 yards receiving and just shits on Roger Goodell and all of them.
Listen, and Trevor Lawrence has his guy. All right. Freaking 11 targets, 101 yards. And some of the catches, man. And the route running, because that's what he's known for. He's known for that route running. He's a really good route runner, right? And apart from all his gifts that God has given him.
Right.
But he has great hands. I mean, the route running was ridiculous. It's like the guy hasn't missed a beat after being out for a full year. This guy was like keeping himself in shape, man. He came back with something to prove.
And you talk, he is a very polished route runner, man.
Yes.
Gets in space, gets open in spots where I never expected him to get open. And then he's got the hands to back it up.
Yep.
And I'm pulling for this guy very, very hard. I want to see him come out and just light everybody up. I mean, you're right. Trevor Lawrence has got his guy, and he's got some other good ones too.
Yeah.
Kirk and Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Indiana in the backfield. Big Tank Bigsby got in the end zone in his first game, so they got an offense down there. I like Doug Peterson too. Jaguars going to be something to be messed with. A big game this week. Chiefs coming to town.
That's right. That's going to be a big one. I mean, offensively, I think they could do. I mean, they looked a little rusty. I mean, Trevor Lawrence made a mistake there with that pick, But at the end of the day, I think he feels comfortable in that offense, and he was kind of dissecting these guys, man, until finally they were able to clamp it down. And look, I got to give credit where credit is due. Anthony Richardson to me was the rookie QB that looked the best out of all of them, right? You know what I mean? I guess a really good team and a really good defense overall.
So you don't think Anthony Richardson's been sitting around listening to everybody saying he's going to be a bust for all these last 3 months? He's been hearing all that stuff too. And I'm with you, man. Let's give credit where credit is due. Anthony Richardson had a game, made some mistakes, but it's going to be expected. He's a rookie QB starting his first NFL game against a tough team. And he played well, man. Gave him a shot in this thing. Really gave him a shot in this thing. So I was very impressed with him, and I did not think we'd be sitting here after week 1 talking about how Anthony Richardson was the best of the rookie QBs.
Yep, and he was better than a lot of veteran QBs. No name him. No, I'm not going to mention any name. Punk ass Daniel Jones. Jeez, man, I'll give this guy after one game the money that we gave Daniel Jones. That's how pissed off I am. Overall, man, I think he looked good. It's also a testament that this offensive line of the Colts is a lot better than any offensive line that any of the 2 rookies are playing. Also, without Jonathan Taylor, they were competitive, and I think with Jonathan Taylor in the mix, this team is I think they're going to surprise some people. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but it's going to surprise some people, and it's going to definitely ease Anthony Richardson's transition, and as he gets more and more comfortable as the season progresses.
That's a great point. If Jim Irsay wasn't such a dipshit and talked all that shit about his running back, if he had Jonathan Taylor in that game Sunday, we're sitting here talking about how the Colts are 1-0.
You're right. There's a very strong possibility, man. Very strong possibility. But jumping to 1-0 here, man. Hey, the Saquon Barkley 2.0, man. Bijan Robinson era starts with a W, my friend, and some impressive freaking stat line. If I find the damn game here, man, because right now I'm trying to look for it, I can't even find it. But did you see that touchdown he scored, man, when off the pass?
I did. I was impressed with Bijan. I hate the Falcons because that's where good fantasy players go to die, because I got Algier down there as my handcuff on the bench. I can't play them both. And I'm obviously not playing Algier over Bijan, but Algier outscores Bijan because every time they get inside the 5-yard line, I'm like, give your 8th overall pick the rock and let him get in the end zone. That's the face of your franchise now. Put him in the end zone, please.
But so they drive
me nuts. I've been drinking
that. One thing that you notice, though, they pretty much were even in snap counts. I mean, Algier had more carries, but the snap counts, I mean, Bijan actually played a little bit less, but still had. I mean, you could see but even this is only temporarily. You could see what's going to happen. This guy is just a complete dual threat, man.
I do see what's going to happen, and I know what kind of player Bijan's going to be in the next couple of years. But I also think they're not going to try to really run him in the ground early on when you got a guy like Algier. So I think I'm actually trying to trade Bijan while the price is high right now, because I think you're going to see a lot of these split games like this. And so I'm trying to get him where I can pick up a couple things right there, and be able and just still kind of keep Algier down there hiding in case something was to happen. It does happen. It's the NFL. But I don't think they're going to just pound him 20, 25 carries a game in his rookie year. Maybe later in the year, maybe when he gets his legs under himself. But at least this first half of the season, I think they're going to kind of ease him into this thing.
And talking about fading, you fade every single wide receiver of the Falcons, all right?
Because
what you see here from Ritter is probably the best game of the season. 50 for 18, 115 yards. It was like dump truck mania there. Just dump that shit down as much as you can to your wide receiver, to your to your running backs, because they look horrible, man. I mean, look at these wide receivers, dude. I mean, it was
garbage,
bad,
bro. There was seriously at one point Desmond Ritter had more catches than Drake London and Kyle Pitts combined. And this is like the third quarter. We're not talking first quarter. This is like third quarter.
Yes.
And so if you pick up any Atlanta pass catchers for your team, you hate money.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
As a matter of fact, he actually was the first receiver to make a catch for the Falcons this season. When first play, man, of scrimmage, boom, he caught his own ball.
And in the third quarter, Drake London didn't have a catch the whole game.
No,
Kyle Pitts went up with like 2 for whatever was it.
So London had 1 target. Pitt had 3. All
And
right.
that's a scheme problem. They didn't need it. They didn't need it in this
No.
one. That's what I'm saying. But I've been watching this for 2 years. They draft
Yeah,
these guys, these big time first round picks on like pass catchers, and they just don't use them. Kyle Pitts, they used a first round pick on Kyle Pitts.
I know.
They were expecting this guy, like they were already crowning this guy in the Hall of Fame after he got drafted and he played it down. And I don't think he's broke 1,000 yards combined.
No, no. I mean, I think his rookie year he did. Then after that, he's disappeared into the
Yeah.
into abyss.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Bryce Young. Look again. It's these rookie quarterbacks. I like to give them a full season before you put the nail in the coffin, right? Or two. Because 20 for 38, 146 didn't look great. I mean, it was just that line was not protected him. They had a good game plan with the running game. That's the reason why they got Miles Sanders, right? And Chuba, we could do with Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And again, he just couldn't get his wide receivers. I mean, Jonathan Mingo, who he likes, struggled. Hayden Hurst was the one that was his bright
Yeah.
spot. And like any rookie, man, once something works, he's gonna stick to it.
Yeah.
And that's what he did with Hayden Hurst. And I'm happy for Hayden Hurst because I like him as a tight end as
I
well,
love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I've been pulling for that guy for a couple of years. I remember him back in the day when he was at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I like Hayden Hurst, man. But yeah, I think I'm gonna say it right now. I think Bryce Young's gonna have the worst season of all the rookie QBs, and it's not gonna be all his fault. It's going to be because he's on the worst team.
Yep.
And I know it's maybe saying a lot, but I think the Panthers are worse than the Texans. I think his offensive line is worse in Carolina than it is in Houston. And so I think Bryce Young's going to have all kinds of problems. And I'll be honest, I don't know that he makes it through this whole season unscathed. I don't know if he even gets through a whole year, man. It's just going to be hard to do. It's different. It ain't college football no more, man. It's a different world than NFL.
I think the whole fantasy or the infatuation of the small quarterback that everybody has gotten in the last 4 or 5 years, Kyler, him, Zach Wilson was the number 2 pick. You bring these guys up, right? Remember, they never made the NFL back in the day. They were great in college. They did everything they do now. Now I know the game has evolved, so that's why they're making the NFL. But
yeah.
I think this stuff is gonna get back to the prototype. 6'4", Anthony Richardson, 6'2", CJ Stroud, that kind of quarterback, because they just don't last. I mean, they just don't last.
I'm with you. I don't know you have to be 6'5", but I need you to be at least 6'2".
Yeah.
I need you to be anything all this under 6 foot stuff. I know there's a lot of stock, but I can only remember one, and he's one of the best of all time in Drew Brees. But I'm just not a lot of people can throw the football like Drew Brees does and has the instincts that Drew Brees has. Not saying Bryce Young can't do that one day. I don't know yet. It's too early to tell. I'm just saying that's not easy to do. And if you go off statistics and what we've seen in the past, it just usually doesn't pan out well. So I think you're right. I think you got to get to a point where you're like, do I want a chance? I mean, it's a lot of money they invest in these guys, man, just for him to like Zach Wilson. I mean, granted, I know he's got to be your starting quarterback now, but that wasn't the plan. You gave another guy a lot of money. So
absolutely.
Now you got this going on. So it's just like, I think there is, I see some of these evaluations. I'm like, what do you see? I've been watching this guy for 4 years. What do you see that I'm not seeing? And most of the time, if I go with my gut, the guy usually winds up, they're just overthinking it a lot, I think.
I think so too. And you know what? Again, everybody was saying how he's a generational talent and stuff like that. Again, I'm a fan of the bigger guy. You know what I mean? I'm 5'8" myself. There's a reason why I never played football and I played baseball growing up. You know what I mean, dude? Because I was first of all, I'm not that fast and I'm not that big, so I could probably make contact with a baseball and catch it, but I could not run a football to save my life or even throwing it. Even though my arm was a little below average, is why I play second. But again, it's not made. I don't think it's not made for the game. I mean, you've had very few exceptions. Yes, like you said.
And the biggest thing is not that they don't have the ability. It's that can they be durable enough to stay on the field? That's why I need a bigger guy, because I need you to be able to take a hit, man. That's like Josh Allen last night. I'm watching this guy. I know he's a big guy and everything, but I'm like, bro, slide.
Yeah.
Step out of bounds. You don't need that extra 2 yards. For what did that matter? It's now 3rd and 6 instead of 3rd and 8. But you almost killed yourself, got hit, jumped up, high load and stuff. I'm like, get down, bro. You got to get down in this league to have any kind of career. Watch Cam Newton fizzle out because he took too many hits.
Yeah.
And so I just don't think those smaller quarterbacks, I just don't think they're durable enough to last a long time.
I mean, look, dude, Russell Wilson has proven it now. The wear and tear is there, right?
And especially if you put Drew Brees got lucky to have a great offensive line. So especially if you get put on a team like the Panthers and Bryce Young, where you have a terrible offensive line. That's what happened to David Carr back in the day. You got put on a team with a terrible offensive line. And they just killed that guy for the first 2 or 3 years, and his confidence was shot.
That's true. Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. And, talking about shot, man, I mean, Minnesota being Minnesota again, listen to the damn Bucks, bro. Baker is 1-0 in the post-Brady era. And remember, we kind of mentioned this on Wake and Rake that he was going to go in and not kind of do anything to F up this game. And that's exactly what he did. All right. 2 touchdowns, 21 for 34. I guess I'm not gonna turn the ball over, man. I am gonna, just run with the game, man. Mike Evans had a monster game.
Yeah.
Godwin. I mean, it's like there was nothing impressive here, right? Because they couldn't even run the ball that well
No.
to begin with, which is what everybody thinks they were gonna do with Rashad White, mainly this year. Look
Yeah.
at that, 2.29 average carries per yards per carry, but they pulled it off because Minnesota did it again.
Man, my Buccaneers, man.
Your Bucks.
I've told y'all, I've been on the record saying I'm going to be more. It's such a weird feeling. Like we win, I'm like hell yeah, but I'm a little bummed because I really want one of those top 2 picks next year to get Caleb Williams or Drake May. So I have my quarterback of the future. I love Baker Mayfield. He's not the
Yeah.
answer. I know he's going to wind up leading us to a solid 6-11, 7-10 season,
Mhm.
just to push me far enough back in the draft where I got to take a lineman or something like that. Something that's not really going to affect me, I feel like. But this is more about the Vikings. This
Yeah.
is way more about
Mhm.
this is not a good loss right
No.
off the rip, and a team that's expected to be really bottom 5 of the league around
Mhm.
that,
Yep.
and you get just beat at home. You only put up 17 points. We were all hype about the over in this game. Everybody on
Yeah.
Wake and Rake was piling the over in
Me
this
too.
thing, and I was just like, I'm not betting on a single Buccaneers game any at all this year because I don't have enough faith in us taking the points, and I ain't going to give them to nobody. That's for sure.
I mean,
So it's like I don't. I'm more about how bad the Vikings looked
yep.
than how good my Bucks looked.
Look, and that division is anyone's to win. All right,
Yeah.
the Buccaneers have
Yeah.
a good of a shot as the Atlanta Falcons and anybody else in that division to win this division. Okay, because that's what you have, and we said it. You might win 8 games and win the division again, or
Yeah.
7. That's how we're looking right now.
Yeah.
Again, there's no surprise here. Justin Jefferson, 12 targets, 150 receiving yards. I love how Jordan Addison look. Another just like Zay Flowers, another guy I'm
Oh, yeah.
high on, and you could see what he could do. I mean, look, he has the offensive weapons. It's just what. At the end of the day, execution matters, and you could take these 344 yards he passed for and wipe your ass with them because it didn't do anything but lose them the game. So
That's crazy to me too. And Jordan Addison, he's one I've been very high on him, but I was
mhm.
just curious, are you going to get the volume you need in this thing with Justin Jefferson, alongside you? And man, he was impressive.
Yeah,
So I don't understand how does Kirk Cousins throw for 344 yards and you only score 17 points?
that's crazy. That is crazy. Again,
You
you
know?
could just throw that out the window, because it didn't like it didn't turn into nothing. It did not equal to anything, and you only put up 17 points, which is nuts, which is
You see
really
that
really
right
nuts.
there, punt, fumble, man.
Yep.
If you can hang on to
Mhm.
the football,
Yeah.
that's what gets you. It don't matter what your stats look like. If you can hang on to the football and you're turning over in inopportune spots, giving your defense a short
Mhm.
field to have to defend and stuff like that, it don't matter who's playing quarterback on the other side. These guys are all professionals, and
Yep.
they're going to figure it out how to get some points. These kickers can kick it from 60 yards. So, yeah, and if you're not scoring points, man, then field goals will get you.
And remember, you also win with having the second with the running back right after Derrick Henry with the most all-purpose yards in the last 5 seasons.
Yeah,
After Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook was the guy. All right,
yeah,
about 100, 110 per game. Right after Derrick Henry, all-purpose yards average per game. So that's a huge loss because and you
yeah.
and you saw it there. That
But
was a huge.
I really like Alexander Madison too, though, man. I really
I do.
do, and I'm not losing hope on him. I like this every time this guy when Dalvin Cook, he's obviously had some injury stuff. Usually misses
Mhm.
3 or 4 games a year at least. And Alexander Madison has stepped in every time, and he's usually a fantasy monster
Yep.
because when the guy's got the bulk of the carries, he showed me he
Mhm.
can show up and play. And I hope they continue to utilize him the way they have in the past there. But this offense has got to figure something out. They got to figure out how to get the ball in the end zone.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, they and again they got way too many weapons, man, for them to be failing this much. Right.
And it
I absolutely I think that's it's not acceptable.
And it doesn't get any easier. They got a short
No.
week. They play Thursday night football at
Mhm.
Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins plays like trash in every primetime game. I don't know what it is, but he is just there's a curse on Kirk Cousins in primetime games. I'm going to be so heavy on I'm actually going to be heavy on the under in that one. I don't think I'm going to see a lot of points in that game. It's
Yeah.
about 48.5, so pretty high right now. I think I'm going
Yep.
to go, I might pile on it now before it drives down a little bit. But I think the Eagles are going to smack them in the mouth, so it don't get no better, man.
I'm taking a mental note on that one. I got to remember that. You're completely right about that. And taking it in the mouth, man. I mean, the Commanders here start the new ownership group with a win. It was a close game, ugly against the Cardinals with Dobbs back there. I have no idea why this game was so close, but it tells you that as good as everybody is, as high as everybody is on Washington. I like Sam Howell, but he made some mistakes, but he did pull it through because he made some gutsy plays there at the end. Rushing for that first down. He made a couple of clutch throws and let them back. At one point, they were behind. So that's pretty much what I have on this game. I had to say the Commanders are just not a nice team to watch. Bro. You know what I mean?
No,
They're like really boring to watch. Right?
bro, they should have
Just,
they should have paid people to watch this football game the other
yes.
day. They should have been standing outside giving away tickets with free hot dog coupons, walking in the stadium. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this. I just got to give Will credit, man. He piled on. He's been on the
Yeah.
Cardinals heavy for a couple weeks. He actually took him in a few survivor pools, which was bold. I guess he figured he could just rebuy,
Yeah.
but he almost got that thing done. And if you get the Cardinals out of your way in your survivor pool, you're in a
Mhm.
good spot right there, man.
That's true.
So, but
And
this is probably a terrible game to watch, man. And neither one of these teams are going to be worth the price of admission all year long.
neither is the Tennessee Titans and the New Orleans Saints, bro. This is like watching paint dry. However,
Mm.
I remember what I told you, Wake and Rake. They were part of my parlay, which I took plus
You
3.
loved them.
Dude, they covered. They covered. I'll tell you, I had my parlay was with the teams that I because I also picked the Philly, the Eagles are 3.5. So it's like I did a 14 parlay and they hit, and this was one of them. It was something about this one. I said to myself, we know Tannehill is not going to blow you out the water throwing the football because he's done. Derek Carr first, even though he had a nice throw that to kind of put him ahead to Rashid. But by the way, we knew it was going to be a low scoring game. It was going to be a lot of running the football, and that's kind of what we got. And it was just ugly, ugly, ugly football. But look, Derek Carr is 1-0 with his New Orleans Saints. So not much to say about here, but Derrick Henry actually had himself a decent, all around game.
Well, they decent, but they don't. Any
No.
time that Derrick Henry doesn't get at least 20 carries in a football game, they should fire the offensive coordinator before he even gets off the field. If he didn't, I think he caught 3 or 4 balls, like 13 carries, 14, 15 carries.
He had 15 carries and 63 yards. I mean, again, he always kills it with the average, yards per carry, 4.4, which that's what he does. But yeah, no, he wasn't. Tajay Spears was out there as much as he was snap count wise because they were using him both sides. I don't think they were using him to block. I mean, which is not good for Derrick Henry, who had himself a couple of catches and 56 yards. Which he had over 100 yards from scrimmage, but it's not the way that he gets it. He gets you 100 yards rushing and 20 or 30 receiving, right? That was done the last years.
Yeah, and like I said, anytime Derrick Henry doesn't get at least 20 touches in the game, that's a real problem. Ryan Tannehill's not going to win you any football games. I told my buddy Cody last year, big Titans fan, I said, bro, you're never winning a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill. No. He's never winning one. So the faster you move on from that and realize that's not your guy, the better off you're going to be. You need to go. You might take your lumps for a little bit, but I would put Will Levis in there and just let him earn his trial by fire. What have I got to lose? Because if you got Ryan Tannehill going out there throwing 3 picks every week, and if nothing else, feed Derrick Henry the rock.
Yep. I was shocked they were not giving him the rock more. I mean, I was at some place I was like, why is he not getting the ball? Why are they not? He's still the guy's still that beast.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I don't know if they're trying. They figure he's getting up there in years now. I don't know if they're trying to be careful, and that maybe that's why I like Tajay Spears. That's a guy to look for a sleeper in fantasy leagues because if anything, God forbid, anything does happen to Derrick Henry, I think that guy's going to get a lot of volume. And I think he's a good fantasy type running back, catching balls out of the backfield. Pretty quick, can make plays in space. I like Tajay Spears, and I like Rashid Shaheed on the other side, man.
Me too.
I really do. I think that guy's going to be one. He might wind up being some league winners for some guys this year because I didn't think he was going to. He got a lot of volume with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas still out there. He got a lot of volume in this offense, man.
Look, one thing we're going to know: Derrick is going to pass the ball. All right, he's going to pass the ball, and when Kamara gets back, it's gonna Kamara's going to get in the action as well. Tennessee, to give Tennessee credit, their defense is not a sleeper, right? They've always been a solid defensive team. Yeah. But Derek Carr's got a Derek Carr. He's always going to end up making mistakes and costing you big games and stuff like that. But they inch one out here because I'll guarantee you, if they would have bet like you said, Derrick Henry gets 20 carries. That's how he breaks out for that 40-yard run touchdown. You know what I mean? When they pound the ball, he wears the defense down. And usually, like you said, that 20 carry number is like the magic number that usually breakaway touchdown happens.
Right. And that 15 points right there, that's not 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. No. That's 5 field goals. That's what they did. They didn't score a touchdown in this game and lost by 1 point. I'm pretty sick if I don't score a touchdown in the game and I only lose by 1 point because I got to feel like I let one slip away.
Yeah, no, I think it's time to spread that mayo on that field, baby, and let him sling it on that sandwich, bro. Bring mayonnaise kid in town, baby.
That's right.
Will Levis be Levis, baby. I think that's probably your best bet.
I don't think it does. I don't think you lose anything by trying.
I don't know, man. I just have my doubts when it comes to the way they drafted quarterback. I mean, Malik Willis was not it.
Really questionable decisions, huh?
Yeah, and I don't know if Will Levis is. I think they drafted the same kind of guy, only with a different flavor. I don't know. I don't know. But you're right. Tannehill is. Well, you got him there because he's the veteran and he's the one that's not going to make the mistakes. Well, guess what? You still lost the game, and you look like shit.
He's pretty much the reason you lost it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, talking about loss, man, and this is
Mm.
just the ugliest game of the freaking week. Probably might be the ugliest game of the year. As you know, I'm a Giants fan by the stuff you see behind me. There's a lot of Yankee shit and Knicks and New York. You know what I'm saying, bro? I've been living in Florida now for 19 years, but I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and you bring your teams over to Florida, which is the sixth borough anyway. You got
That's right.
Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, Staten Island, and then now Florida. So, but and look, let me start with the most obvious. Danny freaking Dimes. I mean, 2 picks. He threw like 7 last year. We're really starting on a bad note here.
Mm.
104 yards. Shit, man. I mean, look, like we mentioned earlier before we got on, um, when you looked at the first drive and you were like, wow, we got 3 first downs and we get to the red zone. And then all of a sudden, sack, 7 yards back. Another freaking couldn't complete a play. Then we blocked the damn field goal. It was over from there. We couldn't do jack moving the football, whether it was running it, whether it was passing it, whether it was whatever. This was like the ugliest game I've ever seen in the histories of a blind Giants game, even when they were really bad.
Man, I gotta admit something. I've spent my whole life. Y'all used to play in a dome up there in New York, right?
I don't remember. I think Noville was played in the Meadowlands. I think it was in the dome.
I didn't think the Meadowlands was that.
Yeah.
I could have sworn
Yeah.
that and I don't know, man. Maybe it's Mandela effect or something. I just was thinking, but I could have sworn the Giants. So I didn't even check the weather for the game the other
Yeah, it was
night.
bad
But
weather.
I've been heavy on the Giants, and I turned that thing on, and it's straight monsoon. And I seen a couple guys outside the stadium building an ark. Man, it was pouring down rain at that game the other night, and I think this is one you got to just take the tape, pull it out, cut it. Don't even watch it, man. You don't even watch it. You got to start over and go. It's a weird game against a good football team, a team that I really think can make some noise this year. It'd be about time, but I don't think you can put too much stock into this. I know like I said, overreactions and all that. Terrible weather against a good team, division game, opening night of the year, Sunday night football. It just didn't go your way. And you got a chance to go out. Now, it's a tough stretch. You got to go back-to-back West Coast games. You probably stay out there all week. That's what we talked about. I think I'm going to be heavy on the Giants. I think they have a good week of practice this week. Get out there. I like Brian Daboll a lot, man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And I think he gets his guys motivated this week. They have a good week of practice. Go there, get it done in Arizona, but then they're probably going to fly up to San Francisco and be partying all week long. And that's not a team you want to do that against, man, because that San Francisco team, that defense is nasty. So I think you probably start out 1-2. But I think the Giants are going to be okay here, man. They're going to be competitive, and I think they're going to right the ship because I got all the faith in the head coach in the world. I really do.
I like Brian Daboll, of course. He's one of those guys that gets the best out of his players, and definitely gets their potential. Right, he did it for Danny Dimes. But look, Dallas, that defense is really that good, right? And offensively, I think Dak did not have to do too much, but he didn't look impressive to me. That same Dak from last year. We know what they got with Tony Pollard, and that's all you needed, right? 70 yards rushing, and then their offensive line is great. CD, had himself 4 catches and 4 targets. They didn't need Dak do too much, but he's got to be tested. And I think we're not going to see Dak of a few years ago. I think he regressed last year, and I'm not trying to say this as a hater because they slam and they punch us in the mouth and kicked it where we were down and freaking practically, bumfucked us. But I can't stand the damn Dallas Cow bitches. But I'm not impressed by Dak. I wasn't impressed last year, and I don't think this year is going to be a lot of the same from next year. This team is just going to do the same thing they do every year. They're going to make the playoffs and going to be a first round out because their defense is that good. It's got to take them.
They Will was telling me this guy I think it was DraftKings or something that put in like a $50 bet on the Cowboys 2+ defensive touchdowns, and it was like $30K or something.
Wow.
And I'm thinking I might double down. I know back-to-back weeks you're like, that'd be foolish. But we got to remember, they got the Jets coming to town with the Zach Wilson-led offense. I can totally see 2 more defensive touchdowns coming out of this thing for the Cowboys. I'm going to sprinkle. I'm not putting $50 on it, but I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that thing again this week because I'm sure the odds, they may be a little bit lower. I don't know. The books might be thinking like I am.
Yeah. No, I think that game is going to be so low scoring-wise because the Jets defense looked as impressive last night. You know what I'm saying? As the Dallas Cowboys. We knew that coming in, that they were good last year, and I think they're even better this year. So, and they proved it last night. They won the game. It wasn't
straight up.
Listen, Zach Wilson threw a shitty ass ball that a great wide receiver and Garrett Wilson, we're gonna hit all that later, caught last night. If it wasn't for that, Josh Allen gets away with the bonehead plays, and the Bills are 1-0. You know what I mean?
Straight up, man. You're right. That defense showed up in a big time way. You're right. I'm probably gonna pile on the over. I mean, excuse me, on the under in this thing. On the under.
I got it. Yeah, and I concentrate. I'm one of those really weird bettors that I don't bet on Monday or Tuesday. It's like, which I should. I wait until like Thursday. That's when I start like really like, all right, I've done research.
I understand. Yeah, I'm one of those too,
Yeah,
man. I like to see some things throughout the week. A lot of guys like to jump on these lines early, but there's
yeah,
so much stuff that happens through the course of
yeah,
the week in the NFL season. Guys
yeah.
being out, guys tweaking stuff in a
Yep.
walkthrough on Saturday and things like that. I don't want to be betting on something. You lose a top player because the line shifts 3 or 4
Yeah.
points and stuff like that. Just wait till Friday or Saturday. I usually don't put my NFL bets until Sunday morning.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
I have no reason not to.
yeah, I like, I do like a pre-template and, I got this, I got that, I got that, boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like my
Yeah.
printout. And then
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Sunday morning, you're right.
Yeah,
That's when I
I've
go
got it
ham.
all written down and stuff, and I
Yeah.
know what I want, and I'm not just starting my research anymore. I'm going to do that all week long, but I'm going to see those lines. I want to know an hour and a half before when they
Mhm.
announce the injury report and all that stuff. I want to know who's going to be playing when kickoff comes, and that's when I'll make my decision based on that line.
Absolutely. Now, talking about strong decisions here, man, with watching all the top teams play this weekend, Philadelphia, all right, the Bills, Kansas City, all these great teams, the Bengals, bro, right now, and I'm going to overreact week one. And I said this last year, San Francisco is built to win now. Okay. They did not slap around a really shitty Pittsburgh Steelers team. All right. And they look impressive as they did last year in the regular season. I mean, Brock Purdy, what he's doing is insane from where he came from and the number he
Wow.
got drafted from. It is just amazing how quickly and how good that kid looked after Tommy John surgery,
Yeah.
slicing and dicing that secondary.
I didn't even know that he was, they were still questionable all the way up till the
Yeah.
last week. So he's going to even play. I never expected him to come out and play like this. Brandon Ayuk went off. Debo was a little let down for me, but it's going to
Yeah.
be Debo. It'll be fine.
Mhm.
I like this San Francisco team, man. I do. I thought they may take a step back, but this is always before I'd seen them play down of
Yeah.
real football. After watching this, because I kind of was high on the Steelers coming into this season,
Me too.
and I backed off that a lot, man. I think they got a lot of problems up there, but that San Francisco defense, they're not gonna. If they put up 30 points a game, they don't
Mhm.
lose a game.
No, no.
Straight
I mean,
up.
look what happens when you have a lead. I mean,
Yeah,
they jumped on the Steelers so quickly.
yeah. There,
And
there- there's no way anybody's ever scoring more than 4 touchdowns on that. If anybody gets over 28 points on the 49ers this year, it's because they got a defensive touchdown.
I mean, if you look at this lineup, man, I mean, forget about Brock, right? He's gonna do what he's gonna do. He has that. He knows that offense so tailor made. It's tailor made for him, right? For his skill set. That's what Shanahan
Yep.
does, right? McCaffrey, 22 carries. This is what they should have done with Derrick Henry, but they did it with
Yep.
McCaffrey, right?
Right.
You still had they just controlled. Look at Debo, they had a couple of his, carries. Of course, Brandon Ayuk, which everybody knew this kid with the way he finished last year was gonna be the guy coming this season. And
Yeah.
8 targets, it didn't disappoint. Debo's gonna go back. Debo's gonna have a good year because he's in
He'll
great
be
shape.
fine if he stays
He'll be
healthy.
fine. Yep, if he stays healthy, exactly. He's gonna be the yak man, bro.
Yeah.
Yards after the catch. You know what I'm saying?
And the way they use him, man, he's got to stay healthy because they use him
Yep.
a lot of different ways and things. He takes a lot of hits
Mhm.
that a lot of other guys don't. But I'm with you, man, on Brandon Ayuk. I am so happy for
Yeah.
this guy. I loved this guy back when he was at Arizona State. I've been waiting on this for a couple years now, and I am glad to see him finally start to have a big year. And I think he's going to have a big time breakout season this year. This San Francisco 49ers team is probably, after week one, this is, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm a favor on them coming in. And last year, look, let me tell you, I'm still gonna say this, right? I picked them to beat the Eagles. That didn't happen because, obviously
Well,
Purdy
yeah.
got hurt. But I think if Purdy does not get hurt, this team would have been in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it might have been a different outlook.
I don't disagree with you. I don't at all. I hated that game. I was so hyped for that
Mhm.
game, and I hated seeing Purdy go down. They're
Yeah.
basically playing with, third, fourth, fifth string quarterback, whatever it is at that time. And I hated to see that, but I'm with you, man. I think if Brock Purdy's in that game, I don't know if they win or not. I don't know. We'll never know that. But
Yeah,
I
we
know it
never
would have been a much different game, and we definitely might have been talking about a different result had that not happened.
Because that defense, if you look at before Purdy went out, we're not going to spend too much time with this. I mean, they're tailor made to control players like Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were doing it in the first quarter before, after Purdy got hurt, like after the second or the third freaking sequence or whatever. But it was just crazy how then after that it went all downhill. You couldn't keep your offense on the field after that. So
Yeah, and I think that they do kind of have to win now. They're in the
Yeah.
next couple of years, they go into salary cap hell.
Dude,
But
they're
right
done.
now, all those guys out there playing are motivated, man, because they've all been paid. And they've done it the right way, but they do need to kind of win now. The window's closing, but I think they're right where they need to be at the moment.
No, they are. So on paper, that's what all their contracts are for the now. They ain't a lot of leg room for after next year, after this year, actually. So it's one of
At
those things
all.
that if they stay healthy, yeah, this is their shot.
Yep.
They have like they have no other. Their future is done. They just remortgaged the house a bunch of times already, and they
Yeah.
don't have any more equity. So
Yeah, the equity is shot, man, for sure.
absolutely, dude. I mean, and we're heading to a freaking bust here in real estate pretty soon, and that's where they fall with that property.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be upset if the San Francisco 49ers won it, man. There's worse
Me
teams that
neither.
can win it than them. I love Kyle Shanahan. I think he is one
Me
of the
too.
best, if not the best coach in the NFL.
Yes.
And I love seeing what that guy does. I mean, especially, I mean, if you can make, an NFC championship with Mr. Irrelevant,
Hmm.
that tells me a lot. He's done it with quarterback after quarterback, did it with Kaepernick, made a Super Bowl with
Yeah.
Kaepernick, all that stuff. I mean, this guy, no, that wasn't Kaepernick was
No.
that
It
wasn't
was Harbaugh,
that, that was
but he
that was
made a
Harbaugh.
Super
Yeah, that
Bowl
was
with
back then.
with Jimmy with
Jimmy G, yeah, Jimmy G,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking a little while back
Yeah,
with Harbaugh
Jimmy
there,
G.
man.
They were,
But
and
either
they were
way,
close. They were leading. They were beating the damn
yeah,
Chiefs like double digits.
yeah.
So
The point, case in point, man. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches
he is.
in the league. Period.
I mean,
And I like what he does, and I really like this team's chances this year.
apart from the winning, a good sign of a good coach is the head coaches that he produces. Right,
Yep.
Salah, D'Amico Ryan. What's his name? The other McDaniel from in Miami. Right.
Yeah,
So
Mike
he
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, he produces it's just like Bill Belichick, right? You look at
Yep.
the tree, right? Look
Yep.
at Bill Parcells. When you have these coaches that generate all these offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators into head coaching jobs, that tells you the kind of like coach that guy is.
Yeah.
How he leads and how he mentors individuals. So that's another to me. It's another good trait of a good leader and a good coach when you're able to like produce other guys under you that are able to move on and get their own show. So.
Abs-
Um,
I tell you what, man, I absolutely love Robert Saleh. I have for a couple years, been pulling
yeah,
for this guy. I thought he's gotten a lot more out of what he's had, and
yeah,
he's finally got his roster together. And I felt obviously we felt the worst for Aaron Rodgers and all that last night. But the guy I think I felt the worst for right after him
hmm
was Robert Saleh
yeah,
because he thought he finally had his quarterback. He's going to get to coach the Hall of
hmm
Fame guy. He's got his team ready to go. But after that happened, even with all the letdown, this point, I've never seen a stadium in a football game go through such a range of emotions
hmm
in such a short period of time as I saw last night. Between all the Aaron Rodgers stuff early on, you wind up
hmm
winning with just the third ever walk-off punt
yeah.
return TD in NFL history. And you have all those emotions. And then after you get done the euphoria, that all wears off. You still sit back and say, damn, we still lost our starting quarterback. And we got to
Yeah.
go play one of the best defenses in the league on the road with Zach Wilson leading our way. But Robert Saleh, man, when they returned that punt for a touchdown, the first man out there celebrating
It was
with his
Robert
dude
Saleh.
was Robert Saleh. I love that. His players
Yeah.
love him. He loves them.
Yeah.
They play for him. They've been through a bunch of shit together and now are going through even more. But I ain't counting this team out just yet. They got to figure out something with quarterback. I don't think Zach Wilson's
Yeah,
the
man.
answer, but I think they can go find somebody and figure something out and plug that in there because that defense is nasty. You got weapons all over that offense. So if you get somebody like a damn Baker Mayfield who just
Mhm.
does what he's told to do, you'll be just fine with this team right here. And I love what Robert Saleh did. And he's still in my conversation for Coach of the Year if he can do anything, especially after what happened last night.
Xavier Gibson was one of the sweethearts at Hard Knocks. An
Yeah.
undrafted player
Yeah.
making the
Love it.
team. Fucking
Love it,
guy
bro.
wins the game. All
And
right,
he's
that's his storybook ending. You can't write it any better. There.
And he said Robert Saleh came up to him after he made
Yeah.
the team and stuff, and he shook his hand, told him congratulations. He said, "You're going to do big things for this team."
Yep, he said
Just,
it. He's
just foreshadow for me, bro. I love it.
awesome. And then he goes out there and he's the first
Does-
one, like going up, no pads,
Yeah.
nothing, man. He's good. I mean, I don't even know if someone headbutt somebody, but he looked like he was in the mix, man, just grabbing guys. I'm like, yo, dude, be careful. You got to get hit with the helmet, man.
And even after all that, man, he's got to go do the press conference about Aaron Rodgers, and they get up there and they
Mhm.
ask him, how you feeling? We know you're
Yep.
bummed, all that stuff. And the man steps back. He said, "I'll tell you right now." He's like, "I don't hurt for me. I don't hurt for the
Mhm.
team, the locker room, the fans, all that stuff." He said, "I'm worried about Aaron. That's who I'm worried about, and what's going on with him. Figure out how we get him better and all that stuff. But that's my top priority right now. That's a coach that tells me he loves his guys, and the top priority to him is his players. And your guys will play for you, man. They'll run through a brick wall. Look what Deion's doing out in Colorado.
Yeah.
If your
Yeah.
players love you, you win football games."
He's that type of guy. And, it's unfortunate because, he brought in Nathaniel Hackett because that's who Aaron Rodgers wanted here. That's
Yeah.
who and now it sucks because
He doesn't have the guy that the skill set
No.
quarterback he needs, and it's going to be. We saw
Exactly.
what Nathaniel Hackett did last year with the same top quarterback in
Yep.
Denver with Russell Wilson.
Exactly. And look, man, I was high on Zach when he first came out, but he's another little quarterback, and I'm going to bash these small quarterbacks again. That's it, bro. He's this guy last night. Yeah, he didn't look impressive. I mean, that touchdown was all Garrett Wilson. If you look at it, what kept him in the game was like, hey, look at Breece Hall, man. He came back
Yeah, look
like
good.
unreal, right? I thought he was
Yeah.
not going to come off this fast, but when he broke out for that 85-yard run, I'm like, that was the Brees Hall from last year through 4 games
Yeah.
before he got hurt, man. So I was like, wow, man, that's one of the things, look, Garrett had 5 targets. This is the kind of line you saw last year when Zach was in the game.
He
You know,
just
the
can't get it
big,
done, man.
yeah, the bigger gains were when Mike White was throwing the football to Garrett Wilson, right?
That's what they feel rough about is getting rid of
Yeah.
Mike White in the offseason. They're like, damn, I wish we'd have kept that in our back pocket. I was with you, man. I drank the Kool-Aid on Zach Wilson too. I got a rookie card over there, man, put up in the box and everything. It probably ain't worth the paper it was printed on, man.
Yeah, because I was like, this guy's short, but man, he has an arm, right? Because he does have an
Yeah.
arm. The guy can
Yeah.
throw it like 80 yards down the field. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, dude?
I like the guy. I bet we could bring
Yeah.
him here on the show. I bet he's cool as shit. He seems like my type of person,
Yeah.
but
No,
I don't want him leading my troops into battle in the NFL team.
no, absolutely, man. But look, somebody that did not lead his troops well, Josh Allen, man. And look, you. One of the things about Josh Allen, love Josh Allen, big dude, strong. Like you
Yeah.
said, slide Josh, he's gonna get hurt. That guy doesn't believe in. He plays at one
No.
speed, and that's moving forward, hard,
Yeah.
strong. He's a truck, right? But man, he's digressed in the last couple seasons. He's digressed.
He struggles against these Jets. I don't know what it is. He's got a bugaboo, man. These Jets give him trouble. That's a stout defense. It's at least a top 10 defense, and he struggles with them. They got something figured out against him. I'll tell you what I will be high on is the over on Josh Allen individual player props this week. I think they're playing Seattle. I think, but I like Josh Allen. He always bounces back. He's had some tough games in his career where he has some games where you're just like, what? Like last night, 3 picks, a fumble, all that. Just didn't look in sync. The Bills almost looked as bummed as the Jets when Aaron Rodgers went down. It just sucked all the energy out of that building. And it's like they couldn't get rolling either. But Josh Allen's going to bounce back. The Bills are going to be okay. I don't think they're going to have a big-time season. I think they're going to go under their win total. And they're in a tough division, maybe the toughest division. But next week, Josh Allen's going to bounce back against a team that didn't look good to me at home. I don't think you go to Buffalo. The team is going to be pissed off, especially the way they lost. Going to have a good week of practice, be focused, ready to go. I think Buffalo, I'm going to be heavy on Buffalo this week and probably all of Josh Allen's overs and his individual player props.
Josh Allen's best years, right? Who was under, right? Who was the offensive coordinator?
Who's that?
Brian Dable.
Oh, see?
That's why I think he's digressed. His guy is not there, man. You've seen the difference without Brian Dable there.
Yeah.
Remember, Josh was that guy that, yes, banging of an arm, right? Athletic ability, not accurate, right? That was his knock.
Bro.
And they brought a guy that knows how to work with these type of quarterbacks. And man, dude, I think that's the main reason why he's digressed so much. Also, he doesn't have his guy. He doesn't have his man there, man.
Well, one thing I was glad to see last night, one bright spot I saw for the Bills, I guess, when they were down 16-13, right before they got the ball back, you see Stephon Diggs go over, and they've had their issues in the past on fighting on the sideline. Stephon Diggs went over, high-fived him, told him, he had his back and all that stuff, and they drove down and got that field goal, crazy field goal, 50-yarder, beats off the upright and goes through. But I actually sprinkled a little bit before the game, man. I was just looking at bets, and I said 10-1 for going to overtime. I was like,
get out of here.
I'm going to put a little bit on this. I was like, this could be, obviously didn't expect, I'd already chalked it up when Aaron Rodgers went down, obviously. I was like, they're about to get killed. But yeah, and then I sprinkled a little bit on that thing and binked at it 10-1, man. And then had the Jets on the money line, so double dipped them.
Honestly, bro, I'd even look at that. I would have jumped all over that too. But even with Aaron Rodgers, I think the game was going to be close. Now,
it felt like a weird spot, man. Monday Night Football, first game of the year. Game has been hyped for months now. Obviously, we couldn't foresee what would happen, but it just felt like one of those games that could come down to the wire and be close to the end. I was like, I'll sprinkle a little bit on it, 10-1. We'll see. It worked out.
Oh hell yeah, man! 10-1. Come on, man. Shoot, that's it did. And look, again with I think now after looking what happened last night and how close the game was, I think Aaron Rodgers would have stayed in the game. This might have been a little bit not of a blowout, but probably a 10-point win.
I think so too, man. Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't even know what that offense really looks like with him in it at this point. We didn't get any kind of sample size, so maybe the Bills are more hyped. Maybe it's just a better game altogether. I was heavy on the over, and then when Aaron Rodgers go down, there's a couple tickets I was just like ready to shred up right off the bat because it obviously changed the whole dynamic of the game. But yeah, I'm with you. The Bills did not look good in this thing, and I thought the Jets were going to win anyway. I didn't think they would win when Aaron Rodgers went down, but
no,
the Bills got to figure this bugaboo out, man.
Yeah. And they did. They didn't see, again, there was a lot of things that went the right way for them, right? The catch with Garrett Wilson. I mean, he's the guy that's just a stud.
That was
Brees Hall, man. I didn't think Brees Hall was going to look that good, right? That early on. And you notice he wasn't there a long time. You know what I mean? He only had 10 carries because they got to work him in. But then also the fact that, we knew that defense was good. And then, special team plays. A lot of things happened right last night for the Jets to win this game. And also a lot of things really went wrong intentionally by Buffalo because, dude, Allen, you just cannot overthrow your receivers like that. I mean, he had more. He threw more touchdowns. I guess he threw the best balls he threw were to the fucking Jets cornerbacks. All right, I mean, whatever.
Oh, what about Whitehead?
Yeah, Whitehead's dude.
I don't
He had
know
more
where
catches than Gabriel Davis, man. Let me see if that's
I
a thing. Gabe Davis sucked also. He's not it either. They don't have a number 2 guy. That's the problem. They don't
bro.
have a number 2 guy.
Will shared a stat this morning for Tariq Whitehead. And I don't know where you would have found this action at all, but the odds on Tariq Whitehead to have a 3-pick game was like plus 283 million.
Oh my gosh.
There were 12, and I don't think anybody would have took it because I just put $1 on it. Why not? Every week, give me a couple mil right off the book's not going to take that. That's how you go broke right there. But I was like, I've never even seen.
No,
dude, he got a $250,000 bonus. He had a season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He got $250K just because he got 3 receptions.
I'd be like, hey, so do you guys just wire that money now, or how does that work? I need that $250K right now.
Here's the problem: you're not going to find that those odds because you can't scroll down to the bottom enough of the sports page, right? In order to find that bet, it's there.
The page won't load. Yeah, the page won't load fast enough, man. It's like it just takes you back to the top.
There's a lot of scrolling to get to that one, man. But it's definitely there. I mean, God knows how many lines and weird ass bets like that are out there.
It makes me want to start looking at them because I see these things. And I'm like, it just sprinkle. I'm not going to go crazy, but I can just sprinkle a bunch, and if one of them hits, I'm going to make a shit ton of money.
Oh man, true. That's true. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Might be something to start looking into on Wake and Rake, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And listen, before we close this out, man, we've been over a little over an hour. It's the first week. There's always a lot of shit to talk, right? And then the first week of the NFL. When I do this once a week during the NFL, I like to hit the overreactions.
Love it,
but it starts getting dwindled, as the season goes on, because there's games you'll be like, get the hell out of here, bro. Well, the first couple weeks, man, you hear like everything. Yeah, exactly. Why am I even talking about? Yeah, like why am I even talking about the Arizona Cardinals, which I'm probably gonna start talking about next week, right?
Yeah.
But before we go out, I like to have a little segment here that's called the Dumbass of the Week. All right, and this week's Dumbass of the Week is gonna go to
loser. Le who? The her.
I meant to say loser of the week. That's what it was. That Dumbest of the Week is my other show. But loser of the week has to go Daniel Jones and the effing New York Giants, my freaking Giants, all right? Because I don't think as bad as the other quarterbacks, Dobbs didn't play as bad as Daniel Jones did. The Arizona Cardinals didn't play as bad as the damn Giants. There was no other team that played worse than the effing Giants and Daniel Jones for that matter. He's my loser of the week, along with the whole Giants squad. And we need to come back strong next week. If not, I am really going to hit the panic button quick on these Giants because that division is too strong for them to look mediocre. Like
brother, I got mad respect that your first loser of the week of the year. You take your own team. You owned it. I hope it's the only time all year long that you got to put them in this spot. I think you're going to be okay. I know, like I said, we've talked about the overreactions constantly. This is one of them I think that's going to have a lot of people kind of down on the Giants, and I think you're going to be fine. That game the other night is just a weird game. You got the weather's awful. You can't expect you to play at your best level in that. Once again, you played a great team. One of the teams that I really expect. I know it's the Cowboys, but I expect them to be something this year and be a tough out in the playoffs. So I'm not completely ready to just jump ship on the Giants yet, just either, because these guys are going to be okay. I love Brian Daboll. I look for him to rally the troops, be ready to go. But you are right, man. Y'all gave Daniel Jones a lot of money. Man, we don't want him to be like one of them contractors that goes and takes the money for the job and doesn't do it. Like, who we talking about the other day? Galladay?
Yeah, absolutely. Galladay. I mean, and this is bigger than Galladay. This is like Galladay on steroids, all right? Plus embezzlement and whatever other crimes you can throw in, racketeering, money laundering, whatever you want to throw in there. That's what Daniel Jones is going to do at the end of the year. If this fucking team doesn't win 7 games, at this point, I am taking 7 games, all right? I'll take 7 games in my sleep, all right?
Man, okay. I don't know. I have to take a look back. We dove into them before the season. I have to look back at the schedule and see, but I think you're going to be okay. It's going to be a tough first month, but I think you will right the ship at some point to get some flow in that offense. You got to find a top receiver. I think Jalen Hyatt needs to be used more in that offense, man. I do. But you got to find a guy that'll catch the ball for you. Darren Waller looked okay. Still coming back, kind of nursing back from what was it, a hammy? I think he had.
Yeah, I think it was. He even limped off a couple of times. I'm like, here we go, man. Here we go. There goes the Waller.
And you got to be careful of that. Don't rush that. Guy struggled with injuries last year. You got to be careful rushing him back too quick because I think he's going to be a focal point of that offense. Saquon doing his thing and all that, I think you'll be okay. Your defense is solid enough. It's just one of those games, man. It just happens. It's football.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, man. And Cricket, I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Tell our folks, man, where can they find you? You know, and all that good stuff, brother. Before we head out.
Oh man, to find me and my buddies over at sportspicks.locals.com, where we have the best value in sports handicapping. We have the great Robert Barnes providing the official picks every week. You get over 1,000 picks annually. It winds up being about 50 cents per pick. Every other sports book is going to charge you upwards of $10 per pick. We have a great community interaction over there. You have if you subscribe, you have the option to message Robert personally. Can't talk about any legal stuff or none of that, but you can talk anything sports betting, all that. You can message him personally. Give him a day or two. He's a busy man, but he will get back to you. But you should come over and check us out, man. We're crushing it. Started the NFL and college football season off with a bang. He's been crushing EPL. Come over and check us out, man. The best value in sports handicapping, sportspicks.locals.com, where we turn the odds in your favor.
Awesome.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. And I know they can follow you on Twitter as well, any of your social media or YouTube channel you have. You want to shout out everybody before we close this out?
Twitter, man. Twitter. I'm new to Twitter, the Twitterverse, man. I just got in back in July for all this stuff and everything. I've been away for a while, but I'm at Cricket1414 on Twitter. Facebook, I don't do a whole lot on Facebook or Instagram and all that stuff, but just over at Sports Picks, man, I got my Cricket1414 tag over there, and then on Twitter, man. So hit me up, man. I'll talk to y'all about whatever you want to, man.
Excellent, man. All right, my brother. I appreciate you. Everybody else, like I said, check out the description. Click my link for BetUS where the game begins, and to get 125% signing bonus. All right, and listen, keep watching. Thank you again for listening and watching, and all the views. Subscribe, comment, talk whatever you want in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter, Joe's_talk, and check us out until next time. Peace.